Hello and welcome. I'm Deanna Kabunda, and joining me today for a very special Skype interview is CPA Lisa London. She's known as The Accountant Beside You, and she's the author of the book series, The Accountant Beside You, including using QuickBooks Online for small nonprofits and churches. Thanks so much for being here, Lisa.
Well, thanks for having me, Jeanette.
So, Lisa, you'd like to help us take the fear out of volunteering. Why do you think so many people are fearful of handling their organization's money specifically?
Oh my gosh, well, so many people volunteer. Almost a quarter of Americans, which is about 62 million people, volunteer each year, either with scout groups or the PTA, maybe a civic club. And at some point, many of them are going to be asked to handle the money, whether to fundraiser, be the treasurer, take in the dues, whatever. And anytime you're the one responsible for the money, there's that nagging thought at the back of your head is like, oh my gosh, what if I lose it? What if something happens to it? So what I like to do is give people tools so that nothing happens to the money.
And is that fear of fraud really valid? Does that happen really as often as we think it does?
Oh my gosh, the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners actually estimate that fraud in nonprofits is 7 to 10% of donations. And that's huge. So in 2014, 39 billion, that's with a B, billion dollars were stolen from churches alone. And they only spent $35 billion on missionary work. So imagine if we could reduce the fraud, how much more good deeds could be done.
Wow, that's a frightening statistic. So who exactly are these thieves?
Well, they're the people you least expect. The person that typically steals from a nonprofit has been with the organization on average 7 years, is middle-aged, and usually just starts out taking a little bit because they're kind of short that month or something, and then they're going to put it back by the end of the month. And that doesn't happen, so they have to take a little bit more, and it keeps growing and growing. And so the person that you least expect might be the one who's actually stealing from your organization.
Wow, that's really frightening. So what would you say then, what could we do to kind of combat that? How can we protect our organizations?
Well, I can tell you theft comes from having motive, means, and opportunity, right?
Okay.
You can't control the motives, but you can control the means and the opportunity. So we get rid of the opportunity by any time there's cash or access to the funds, you always have two people involved. You want two people always counting the dues at a meeting, or the money taken in by fundraisers, or sitting there with the t-shirts that are being sold. And at the end of the night, you count the cash together, you sign off and make the deposit. So as long as two people always have cash, it's a lot harder to steal. That's the opportunity. Now, there's also the means, and the easiest way to keep the person taking care of the accounting from stealing from you is to make sure the bookkeeper doesn't have access to the cash. They're not a signer on the checking account. They can't access the PayPal accounts, none of the credit cards. They have access only to recording the transactions, not the cash.
Wow, it makes so much sense. But I imagine some organizations might feel like that means the treasurer is a two-person job.
Well, it kind of is, but I can tell you that no organization is too small for good controls. So if the treasurer is the one that's doing the analysis and reporting to the board and all, and doing the bookkeeping, that's fine. Just don't let the treasurer handle the cash. Don't have their name on the checking account or on the bank accounts. So they can still do all the rest of the treasury jobs except for actually touching the cash. And then you would just have your executive director or your pastor or other volunteers be your check signers. So as long as there's at least two people in the organization, you can separate those functions.
That makes so much sense. Thank you so much. And it's an easy fix that we can start using right now.
Oh, please do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lisa. To learn more about Lisa, any of her books, and of course all of her projects, visit her website at accountantbesideYou.com. Thanks again.
Thanks, Annette.